NFL draft is over, folks, and today we're going to talk about potential free agents the Detroit Lions could go ahead and sign to their football team. This is going to be sporadic. We're talking about players all across the board, from offense to defense to special teams, to what the Lions could do to beef up that roster as we compete for the NFC. But before we get into today's video, if you are not a subscriber and you have not hit that like button, I say, what in the hell? Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 36,000, as well as hit that like button. Let's get to 400. Let's get this thing going. First player on my list for the Detroit Lions to go ahead and sign is kicker Robbie Gould. Why should the Detroit Lions sign this guy? Because right now we got Michael Badgley. Now, he wasn't bad at all when it comes to kicking last year. He was so-so medium kicker for the Detroit Lions, but he did make some misses, and Robbie Gould is a veteran kicker who has done it before in big games, big times, for the San Francisco 49ers last year, helped them get to the NFC title. And when you're trying to win every single game, having a veteran kicker is always important. And I do think it's vital for the Detroit Lions to get competition at the kicker position. Kickers are people too, and we need to have all of the best weapons on the 53-man roster. That involves kicker as well. Have these guys battle it out. It's not going to cost a lot of money to bring him in for competition because it is the kicker position, and those are fairly cheap. If it works out, great. If not, great. You still have competition there, and they can bring in an undrafted kicker as well. Let these guys battle it out in training camp, and then ultimately preseason to see who the guy would be for the Detroit Lions. Question for you, it's going to be the pinned comment here. Will the Lions sign a free agent? Y for yes and N for no. Approximately right now, the Lions got around $13 million they can spend on free agency. It's 26 overall, but they still got to sign their own drafted rookies. So $13 million in free space. Let me know if you think they sign a guy. Let's talk about some edge rushers the Detroit Lions could look to get. Lions did not draft any in the 2023 NFL draft, and when you're trying to build a 53-man roster, you want the best players available. One of the guys that can get it done is Leonard Floyd, who was released and now is a free agent. Why could the Lions get him? Because why not? You want to make this a competitive roster. And when he did last year, he's good at getting those sacks. And we need sacks for sure on this defensive line. He had 31 solo tackles and 9 sacks. 9 sacks, folks, would be really good, adding to Romeo Okwara, Julian Okwara, Chris Harris, Joshua Pascal, Aiden Hutchinson, and everybody else. And there could be an injury, right? You want to have veterans back there that can help the Lions roster out. You could think this could be an option if there's an injury that happens before training camp, something that does happen to multiple teams. And when you're a team like the Detroit Lions with money in the bank, you could get a guy, a veteran presence there to help get after the passer if there's a problem. Or what if one of these players just don't work out that we currently have? You know, Charles Harris, for whatever reason, doesn't come back to form in training camp. The Lions go ahead and sign Leonard Floyd, who does have some power left in the tank. And I think it'd be a nice option for the Detroit Lions if issues do occur. Let's go ahead and talk about another pass rusher. Now, I think this one's an absolute long shot. He hasn't done anything, and he's been injured for some time. That's Jadeveon Clowney, edge rusher from the Cleveland Browns and many other teams, Houston Texans. He's a free agent. Now, he hasn't done anything because he has been injured. So if you want to get a guy just to compete for 53, this is not even a guy to actually make the 53. He would be cheap. That's Jadeveon Clowney. He does have a lot that he can bring to the Detroit Lions. He does have some good qualities to him. He does have playmaking ability. The problem with him is injury, injury, injury. So for me, it would be a low-cost deal. Let him compete. See if he can make the roster. If he doesn't do well, it's simple. You cut him. It's no lost. There's nothing big there. It's not going to be big money. And you cut your losses. Let's continue on with another edge rusher here. How about it, Yannick and Ngakoue? from the Indianapolis Colts, free agent here. Now, he has done well with the opportunities that he was with the Colts. He was with the Vikings and other teams as well. He's still got some good game left in the tank, if you ask me. When you look at his stats last year, pretty damn good, 18 solo tackles, but the biggest part there is 9.5 sacks. Just like we had there with Leonard Floyd, Yannick and Ngakoue can still get to the quarterback and help the Detroit Lions out in a big way. He even has a forced fumble. Lions could get him, throw him on the defensive line, compete, and he would probably make the roster. It's going to cost a little bit of money to bring him in, but he could be an asset to the Lions' defensive line. You didn't draft anybody, and you want to have more pass rushers that can get after it. Get after Jordan Love. Get after Kirk Cousins. Get after Justin Fields in the NFC North, and ultimately, whoever the quarterback is for the San Francisco 49ers. And when you're going to compete for the NFC Championship, we're talking about Dak Prescott over there and all the other quarterbacks that we would be competing with. He would help get the job done. It would be really good. Folks, I got asked by Chasporce to get to 400 likes for this video. So do me a favor. Show these guys that definitely the pride can get it done. 400 likes. It's easy to do so. You smash that like button, and you are good to go. Let's go ahead and continue on with some more edge rushers here. How about going Robert Quinn, free agent from the Philadelphia Eagles? Look, the Philadelphia Eagles got DeAndre Swift and every other freaking pass rusher in the draft, in free agency. So why not get a guy from them and help the Lions pass rush out? And guess what, folks? He, just like the other guys, is pretty damn good. He has 8 solo tackles, 1 sack, 0 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. Yeah, the stats not there, but when you look at what he did in the regular season, injuries as well as depth chart. So for the Lions, you could get a guy that has a lot of experience. I mean, if you look at his career, he had 369 total tackles with 286 solo, 81 assisted, 102 sacks, 31 forced fumbles. He's, career-wise, is a man that has a lot of veteran presence that can bring to the Detroit Lions. I would have no problem with that. I'm not sure really what the contract would be. It's probably going to be a little bit pricey, but considering what happened last year, maybe a little bit less, but you bring him to the football team, you have an opportunity to have a guy to help mentor some of these young players, and I think that's a good idea when you're trying to take the team to the next level, so you can help them how to prepare. He would actually be a productive Michael Brockers, who did not play last year. Let's go ahead and look towards a backup quarterback here, and how about Teddy Bridgewater? Lions did offer this guy a contract. He is still in the market and not taking it. You say, why the hell would you do that? We drafted Hendon Hooker. Well, Hendon Hooker may not be available probably halfway through the season due to the injury, and the Lions want to take the time with him. Maybe he goes on the PUP list. Teddy Bridgewater, he has a lot of starts. He would be an upgrade over Nate Sudfeld, be a good backup right now for Jared Goff. If injury goes down, you can count on him to get it done. You really could. And I think when it comes to Teddy Bridgewater, what's good about him is he is a guy that absolutely can take over if there's an injury. He can hold the fort down. He doesn't need to be in a situation like Tua Tagovailoa last year where he has to do a predominant amount of time. Jared Goff is an Iron Man. I have no issue in believing that Jared Goff come back from injury, unlike Tua. So I think for the Detroit Lions, you want to have to worry about, he does have injury concerns. You don't really worry about that. It would be situational when it comes to maybe a game, maybe just a couple snaps. Teddy Bridgewater, hold it down. Lions are good to go with the backup quarterback position. Then Hendon Hooker's available. When he gets back, guess what? Cut Nate Sudfeld. Then you have a hell of a backup quarterback position with Hooker, Bridgewater, and Jared Goff to man that bad boy. What about defensive tackle? Right now, the free agent list for DT is butt cheeks, but there is one guy the Lions could look at, and that's defensive tackle Chris Wormley over there from the Seattle Seahawks. The Lions did not much in the NFL draft regarding the defensive tackle position. We traded up for one guy but he's more of a run stuffer. How about getting a guy like Chris Wormsley, who's a veteran here? He had 18 solo tackles, 0.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. Someone that gives more depth at that position. We can't trust Levi Onwuzurike to be healthy. He's never healthy. That's been a problem for him throughout his career. We get another guy. It's not going to cost a lot to get Wormley here, and it would help out the rotation at defensive interior, something that we need. Then you got a much better defensive interior when it comes to players, and it would help out the Lions in rotation, help out the Lions defensively, and get these pass rushers the ability to sack the quarterback and help stop the run as well, and he can disrupt the quarterback a little bit with his quarterback hurries. I think that's something that the Lions could look at to help out. Now, there's plenty of other free agents the Lions could get, and we're talking about free agents that are low-end depth chart that could compete for 53. I can do a massive list there. You can even look at defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh, right? He went to Philadelphia, tried to compete for a Super Bowl, nearly won it. Maybe the Lions could bring him back on a cheap-ass deal. That could be something for Detroit to get done. Look, I love Ndamukong Suh. Is he what he used to be? Absolutely not. But for a rotational player, maybe a situational pass rush and defensive tackle, I have absolutely no problem with that. There's some other players out there. Maybe they can look at wide receiver to compete for number 6. I don't really think that's a priority now after the draft and undrafted free agents that we got. I think they'd be pretty good there. I think they're going to be pretty good. But I think if they can go after and get one guy, maybe it would even just be before the training camp period happens. That's why we got $13 million saved up for something like that to occur. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell because we drop content, news, and rumors every single day here, folks. Really important to get that going. And we're live every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Obviously, we got the crew, Herm, and everybody. It's a good time, a good show. So make sure you show up for that bad boy. Getting it done here on this channel. Again, stay tuned for the latest news and rumors. We don't know when it happens. It happens all the time. With that said, folks, adios.